So before I give you the 10 ideas, what I want to do is explain something quickly because it's really going to help you to be able to choose your digital products better. So the products that are doing well right now are not the ones that are just nice to have. They're usually the ones that do one of four things. And that's either save time, they help someone make money, they might help someone remove some kind of confusion, or they help someone look more professional. And that's pretty much it. So instead of thinking, what can I create? I want you to start thinking, what is someone already struggling with that they would happily pay someone to make easier? Because that's where the money is. So for example, a basic PDF called My Morning Routine might be a nice to have, but a 30-day content plan for new coaches who don't know what to post is going to be much more valuable and much more specific. So another example is that you might have trouble selling something like a random spreadsheet, but a cash flow tracker for freelancers who get paid irregularly, this suddenly feels really useful. That's the difference. So the digital product market is not dead. It's just lazy digital products are what are struggling right now. So whenever you're thinking of a product idea, what you need to do is run it through this little filter. So you want to be asking yourself, does this help someone save time? Does it help them make money? Does it reduce stress or confusion? Or does it help them look more professional? And if the answer is yes, then you might have something. Now let's get into the ideas. So the first digital product idea is AI prompt packs, but not the generic kind. So I don't mean a random PDF called 500 ChatGPT prompts. Those are everywhere now. And honestly, most people don't need 500 prompts to do what with, please. What they do need are 10 really good prompts that solve their specific or exact problem. So for example, this could look like AI prompts for estate agents who need property descriptions, or AI prompts for coaches who need weekly content ideas, or AI prompts for virtual assistants who need client onboarding emails. This is where these kind of prompts become powerful because the person buying it is not thinking, oh, I'm buying prompts. They're thinking, finally, something that speaks to my business. And this is such a good product for beginners because it doesn't need to be complicated. You could create it in Google Docs, Canva, Notion, or even as a simple PDF document. So instead of just giving them prompts that say, write me 10 Instagram captions, you'd give them when to use the prompt, what to paste the prompt into, so ChatGPT or Claude, what to change, what result they should be expecting, and also the example output that they should expect to get from it as well. And it's that little bit extra that's going to make the product more valuable and useful. So let's say your audience is new wedding photographers. You could create something called the Wedding Photographer's AI Content Prompt Kit. And then inside, you could include prompts for Instagram captions, for client inquiry replies, for blog post ideas, pricing page copy, email follow-ups, testimonial requests, and lead magnet ideas. Can you see how much more valuable that is than just offering someone 100 AI prompts for business? So before we move on, I just want you to think about this. What type of business or person do you really understand well enough to create these prompts for? Because that could be your first clue. Right, so let's move on to the second digital product, which is niche Canva template kits. Now, Canva templates have been around for years now, but they're still selling really well because people still need to make things look really pretty and they need to do it quickly. But again, the money is in specificity. So a pack called social media templates is really broad. So instead, you're going to want to pick something called 30 Instagram templates for female fitness coaches selling a 6-week program, because this is way more specific and way more interesting. Because just in that title alone, I'm able to know, or my customer is able to know who it's for, what it helps with, and how I could use it. The best template kits in 2026 are not just pretty, they're actually strategic. So instead of just giving someone 50 random designs, what you could do is actually create templates around a goal. So for example, this could be a launch template kit, a webinar promotion kit, a lead magnet promotion kit, a podcast promotion kit, a TikTok carousel cover kit. I think you're kind of getting the idea. But the reason that this works beautifully is because people don't just want designs, they actually want the thinking done for them. They want to open Canva and think, oh good, I know exactly what to post today, which ultimately is what's going to make their life easier. So a really good product could be a 7-day launch Canva kit for new digital product sellers. And then inside you could include something like a day 1 announcement post. You could include a day 2 problem awareness post, a day 4 testimonial post, a day 5 FAQ post, a day 6 reminder post, and a day 7 final call post. And by doing this, you're making sure that this is not just a template pack, that it's actually a complete launch system. And this is why templates sell. They help someone show up faster and look like they know what they're doing. So you should be asking yourself, what does your audience need to create often, but probably hates designing from scratch? And then that's where your Canva template idea could be. So the third idea is mini courses. And I want to say this clearly. I don't think most beginners should start with a massive course. And I know that sounds strange because everyone talks about creating a signature course, but a big course can take forever to make. And if you haven't validated the topic, it can be a lot of effort for nothing. So a mini course is much easier. It solves one specific problem in a short amount of time. And examples for this could be something like how to set up your first email list in a weekend, or how to create your first digital product in 7 days, or how to make your first £100 on Etsy. So the beauty of a mini course is that it feels achievable for the buyer and easier to create. So all you need is a clear before and after. So let's say someone is a social media manager. Instead of creating a huge course called How to Become a Social Media Manager, you can create a mini course called How to Sign Your First Social Media Management Client. And this could include helping someone choose their service, create a simple offer, write their outreach message, build a mini portfolio, and then send their first 20 pitches. So this is a lot more focus, and that's really useful to someone. And it's much easier to sell something like this than it is to sell something that's a bit more vague. And this is actually something I talk about a lot in my own resources, because I see so many people trying to build these huge offers before they've even tested what their audience actually wants. And that could lead to wasted time and wasted effort. So if you want help choosing and shaping your first product idea, then what I would recommend is joining my free school community. It's linked below, and it's a really good place to start if you want support without feeling like you have to figure it all out alone. So with that being said, next ask yourself, what is one small result that you could help someone get in 7 days or less? Right, so the fourth idea is Notion dashboards. Now, I know Notion templates are not new, but they're still really popular because people are always and forever going to be overwhelmed. You've got people that have got notes in one place, goals somewhere else, content ideas in another app, random screenshots in their camera roll, and about 17 unfinished Google documents. And yes, I am speaking about myself. So if you can create a dashboard that actually helps someone organize one part of their life or business, that can be really valuable. But again, please don't create generic life planners. You need to go specific here. So an example might be a content planning dashboard for coaches, or maybe a client management dashboard for freelancers. But what I want you to take away here is that the more specific it is, the easier it's going to be for you to sell. And when you can create something that becomes part of how someone runs their business or their life, it's always going to have a higher perceived value. And this is why when you create something like a Notion planner or a dashboard, it should be more than just storing information. It should actually be something that helps someone to make decisions. So if you've been thinking about creating like a Notion dashboard or workspace, you want to start by asking yourself, where is your audience currently messy or scattered or disorganized at the moment? Because that in itself could be your dashboard idea. Right, so now we're moving on to number 5, which is paid digital workbooks. And I love this one because it's underrated. A lot of people hear workbooks and think it sounds too simple, but a good workbook can be incredibly valuable because it helps someone actually think through something that they've been avoiding or trying to do. So for example, this might look like a niche clarity workbook, a pricing workbook, a content strategy workbook, a business idea validation workbook. And the difference between a workbook and an ebook is that the ebook actually gives you information, but the workbook is what helps someone make decisions. And people will pay you for clarity. So let's say your audience is people who want to start freelancing. What you could do is create the freelance offer clarity workbook. It could guide them through what skills they already have, who they want to help, what problems they can solve, what offer or service to create, how to price it, how to explain it simply, and also where to find their first client. And that could genuinely help someone to move from, I have no idea what I'm doing, to I know what I'm offering. And that's really valuable. So the magic of a workbook is not the design, it's actually the questions. So if you are considering creating a workbook as a digital product, ask yourself, what decisions does your audience keep delaying because they feel confused? Right, so let's move on to number 6, which is micro SaaS. And SaaS simply means software as a service. So instead of someone buying a PDF once, they actually pay monthly to use a tool. Now, I know for some people, software can sound intimidating, but micro SaaS doesn't have to mean that you're building a giant app like Canva or Shopify. A micro SaaS product solves one specific problem for one specific group of people. And this is where I think there's a huge opportunity in 2026, especially with AI and no-code tools making it easier than ever to build out simple software products. So if you're wondering what you could actually create as an app, maybe it could be something like a content idea generator for estate agents, or a price calculator for freelancers, or maybe a testimonial request tool for service providers. To be completely honest, there are so many different ideas of apps and tools that you can create to make someone's life easier. But a little tip is that the best micro SaaS products usually feel boring but useful. And I mean that in the best way, because people pay monthly for things that help them save time, make money, or avoid mistakes. So let's say you work with virtual assistants and you notice that they're all struggling with onboarding new clients. So what you could actually do is build a tiny SaaS tool where they can create a client onboarding form, send a welcome email, maybe collect client details, track onboarding steps, and so on. And then you could charge a small subscription fee. So it doesn't need to be everything, but just something that you know is specifically going to be able to help someone solve a specific problem. And a couple of apps that you can use for this are Lovable, Claude Code, or Anti-Gravity, which allow you to actually prompt the tool to create the app for you. So obviously, if this is something that you've never done before, it's going to take a little bit of time to kind of get used to using the tool. But we are miles away from the days where you have to get a developer to create a app or a tool for you. You can now do it yourself. And as I mentioned, there is a slight learning curve, but it's not difficult. And if you are committed and willing to learn it, this is something that will generate you a lot of income during 2026 and beyond. Right, so the 7th idea is AI-powered calculators. So this is a nice bridge between a simple digital product and a SaaS product, so an SaaS product. So a calculator could be a one-time digital product like a spreadsheet, or it could become a software tool a little bit later. And examples of this could be pricing calculators, profit calculators, launch goal calculators, ad budget calculators. And people love calculators because they give fast answers. So in business, people are always wondering, what should I charge? Or how many sales do I need? Or can I afford this? And if you can help them answer that clearly, then you've got a strong product. So imagine a digital product revenue calculator. So someone enters their monthly sales goals, their conversion rate, their email list size, ad spend, and platform fees. And this calculator tells them how many sales they need, how many leads they need, what price they might want to charge that's going to make more sense, what profit they should expect. Now that's going to be really useful to someone, right? And if you add simple guidance along with the numbers, it becomes even better. So not just here's the calculation, but here's what this actually means, and here's what to change. You don't have to start with a fancy app. You could just start with a spreadsheet at first. And again, you can use AI to help you build it. And then you would sell it, get feedback, and then turn it into a software a bit later when you've got reviews and when you kind of know that people love it. So when you're thinking about what kind of calculator to create, think about what your audience asks that always starts with how much, and then that could become your calculator idea. Okay, so number 8 is content repurposing kits. And I think this one is a strong one because people are tired. Business owners are trying to post on TikTok, on Instagram, on YouTube, on Pinterest, email, LinkedIn, and whatever, all the platforms and all the places. So a product that actually helps them to turn one idea into multiple pieces of content is something that's going to be genuinely useful. And a couple of ideas that I just want to share are maybe something like a YouTube to email repurposing kit, or a product to social content kit, or even something like a TikTok to newsletter kit. So this could be sold as a Canva template pack, a Notion system, a Google Doc workflow, or even a mini course. So let's say someone records a YouTube video. What you create could help someone potentially turn that into free short form video scripts, a newsletter, captions, pin titles, a blog post, carousels, and different types of content. And that's really valuable because it saves someone from constantly having to start from scratch, which I know personally is a huge pain point for entrepreneurs. All right, so 2 more to go. And number 9 is a paid resource library or membership. Now, I don't mean a membership where you have to be live every day, constantly create content, and exhaust yourself. What I actually mean is a simple resource library where people pay monthly or yearly to access useful assets. And this could include things like a template library for coaches, or a content prompt library for business owners, or even a lesson plan library for tutors. And this works well when the person wants ongoing help, but they don't necessarily need high touch coaching. And this can also be especially good if your audience is always looking for fresh ideas. So, for example, a monthly content ideas library for online business owners could look like monthly content themes or hooks. It could include caption starters, email ideas, Pinterest pin ideas. But essentially, it needs to be something that people are going to come back to every month. And the value here isn't just the resources, it's actually the organization. So people are paying because everything is in one place and it's easy to use. Actually, let me ask you this because this will help me. If you were going to pay for a monthly resource library, what would you want inside it? Would it be templates, prompts, trainings, content ideas, swipe files, or maybe something else that I've not mentioned? So comment below and let me know because I'm genuinely curious. And then finally, number 10 is industry specific AI assistance. Now, this is a newer one, and I think it's going to become a lot more common. So instead of selling a static PDF or template, you can create a custom AI assistant that helps a specific type of person to do a specific task. So, for example, this could be an AI assistant for coaches that helps them write client session summaries, or maybe even something a little bit different, like an AI assistant for Etsy sellers that helps them write product descriptions. And the reason that this is interesting is because people don't just want information anymore, they actually want help applying it. So a PDF tells them what to do, but an AI assistant can actually help them do it. And this is why platforms like Claude are so popular right now. Now, you do need to be careful here because you still need to give good instructions. You need to give good boundaries or clear boundaries and examples. And honestly, the value is in how well you design the assistant. So let's say you create an AI assistant for new digital product sellers. Well, it could help them choose a product idea, name that product, write the product description, create a simple launch plan, write 10 content ideas, draft an email to announce that product, plan their next product, and whatever else you can think of. And that could be really useful if it's built properly. And products like this are not just the AI, they're actually the thinking that you build into the AI. So this is where you see people cloning themselves or cloning their knowledge and then selling it as an AI product. So ask yourself, what advice do people already come to you for again and again? Because that might be something that you could actually turn into a guided AI assistant. Now, if you're watching this thinking, okay, these sound good, but I don't know which one to choose, this is what I would do. So I'd ask myself 3 questions. Question 1 is, who do I understand? So not who has the most money, not what niche looks trendy at the moment, but who do I actually understand, or who do you actually understand? Because if you understand the person, you're going to be able to create a better product for them. The next question would be, what problem do they repeat all the time? And this is not a vague problem like they want to grow. I'm talking about a real problem like, I don't know what to post, or I don't know what to charge, or I don't know how to organize my leads. And then question 3 would be, what's the simplest product that I could create right now that could help them take the next step? So not the biggest product, but the simplest product. Sometimes that could be a workbook, sometimes it's a template, sometimes it's a mini course, or it could be any of the other digital products I've mentioned throughout this video. But the goal here is not to create the most impressive thing, so make your life as easy as possible. The goal is actually to create the thing that someone can actually use. And this is pretty much how you're going to avoid creating something just because it sounds good. You want to make sure that whatever you create is created based on a real person, a real problem, and a real next step. So the big takeaway from this video is digital products are still selling in 2026, but the winning products are getting more specific, more useful, and more practical. It's not enough to just throw together a random ebook or a template and then hope people buy it. Instead, you want to create something that actually helps a real person solve a real problem faster. So whether that's a prompt pack, a Canva template kit, a mini course, a Notion dashboard, a workbook, a micro SaaS tool, a calculator, a repurposing kit, a membership library, or an AI assistant, the question is always the same. What does this help someone do? And if you can answer that clearly, your product instantly becomes easier to sell. So if this video helped, the next thing that's really going to click for you is learning how to choose the right digital product idea before actually wasting time creating it. So I'd recommend watching my next video on how to validate your digital product idea before you build it, because that is what's going to help you to figure out whether people actually want what you're offering or what you're thinking of. And don't forget, if you want support with this, you can join my free school community using the link that I've left in the description. I'll see you in the next one.